Well, hello, hello, hello there, y'all. It's your girl, Shonda Ray, and you know what it is. It's Wednesday, and it's time for Boss Talk. Are y'all ready? That's bold, one of a kind, sensational superstars.
One of a kind. One of a kind.
Well, hello. And again, I want to welcome you to Boss Talk LA. And again, that's bold, one of a kind, sensational superstars. And so let me know in the chat where you're watching from. Go ahead and put that in the chat for me, and take a moment right now and share the link out, because we're going to have a great show for you. How many of you have started out a day and it looked like a pretty good day, and then there were challenges, and then one thing happened, and you were like, ooh, sigh. And then another thing happened, and you were like, ooh, sigh. And then yet another thing happened, and you were like, well, dang. Well, it's been that kind of a day for me, but I am determined to stay on the higher side of good. No matter what happens, I know who's in control, and y'all, it ain't me. And so I just want to remind y'all that it's Wellness Wednesday, every Wednesday that we are here. And so today is a day that I could use a little breathing. How about y'all? So I want you to do that with me, because my guest tonight is having a little tiny bit, well, actually a great big old bit of technical difficulty, but we are confident that she and my producer are going to get it worked out on the other side so that she can join us today, so that we can talk about healing limits out of poverty and into purpose. Yes. And what is it like to heal your limits? Because many of us have limits. We have limits mentally, emotionally, sometimes physically, and they can sometimes get in the way to our forward movement, right? But when we heal those limits, then we are able to do things like come out of poverty and find our purpose. And that's exactly what my guest will be talking to you about tonight. But in the meanwhile, just breathe a little bit with me, okay? So let's take a deep breath in. Now, if this is your first time here, when we breathe, we expand our belly like a balloon, and then we exhale, it contracts, okay? So let's do 3 nice and deep breaths together. Breathing in, ready, go. Let's do our second one. And our third one. So when you do this, you allow yourself to come down from being way up here in anxiety land, in worry land, in frustration land, and all of that. And you actually calm down that sympathetic nervous system. And that's the one that keeps us riled up. And so when we do that, we allow the parasympathetic nervous system to turn on and just relax us. And so if you're out there from LinkedIn, I understand that there's some problems with LinkedIn. And so I don't know if we're going to be able to fix them on this side, but we'll see. We can hope, right? So hopefully they'll get that figured out. I just got a pop-up notice about that. So again, tell me where you're coming in from. We are in Los Angeles, California. So tell me where you are. We're actually in Lakeview Terrace, if I'm being specific, but it's all LA. It's all LA County. And that's a beautiful place to be. Our weather here today was a little bit overcast. And but it's still, the sun kind of came out a bit later, but it was still a beautiful day in otherwise sunny California. So today, when I started out this morning, it was an easy breezy kind of day, but I left to go and do a presentation for a company, and it was called Thriving in the Workplace. Let's see, something about getting tools to help you sort of make it through. And it was really about elevating our thinking and our thought process. Well, I didn't eat before I left. And so I noted that when I was standing there, and they gave me a little bit of food. And so I ate a little bit, but I probably ate it too fast or something. And halfway through, y'all, I got dizzy and woozy in front of, maybe 25, 30 people. And I had to sit and I had to catch my breath and just kind of regroup. And they decided to postpone it and ask me back. But they were absolutely lovely about that. Hello, Clark Green from Arizona. Arizona in the house. Thank you for tuning in tonight. I think this is your first time on Boss Talk. So welcome. And I hope that you will come again and hit that button and subscribe, so that you'll know when it's time for us to go live. All right. And that's every Wednesday at 6:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. That's 7 o'clock Mountain Time, 8 o'clock Central Time, and 9 o'clock on that East Coast, Eastern Time. So Roslyn Cooper Trim from Trinidad and Tobago. Ooh, I love it. Well, I know that I can't compete with that sunshine at all. And it's so nice to have you here. Your girl is having a little bit of technical difficulty on the background, but we're going to keep praying that technology becomes our friend and we can get her on here. So how do you know our illustrious guest, Nick, from back in Trinidad and Tobago? Let us know. Clark said, yes, it is. First timer? Well, please come again. So as we get ready to have Nicole come on soon, I'm praying, as I know you all are too. I will tell you a little story about Trinidad and Tobago. Number one, I was there in 2022, and guess why? I got to do a TEDx talk. And if you're going to do a TEDx, it might as well be in Trinidad, baby. It was amazing. And we had a lovely, lovely time there. And the people were so warm and friendly. And listen, we got there the day after Carnival. So I was a little bit upset about that. It had just ended. And so we didn't get to partake in any of that, but we did get to go do some underground dancing and stuff like that. So that was great. Oh, you've known Nick since the 90s. Wow, that's awesome. So have you read her book, Clark? And hey, Hello, Naila. Nice to see you. Thanks for tuning in, my sister. It's always good to have you back. And how are things in the ATL? Is it super hot and ridiculous over there? And not to mention humid? How's the weather treating y'all? I'm going to show y'all my lovely, lovely cup. Isn't that wonderful? It actually, in case you can't read backwards, it says, "She who kneels before God can stand before anyone." That's right. And on the back, it says my name and all of the things about me. Isn't that lovely? My dear, sweet, amazing husband got this for me, and it matches a bag that he also got for me. So that's pretty amazing. And let's see. Clark says absolutely. So he has read the book. Let's see. Rosalind says, Nicole and I have been friends from our youth. Oh, I love that. I love when, and that says a lot about both of you. When you can make friends that long ago or early, not that y'all are that old now, don't get me wrong, but a long time ago. Longtime friends are the best. I have friends from childhood as well. One of my friends that we've been friends since we were 5, and she actually flew in and was in my wedding. So I know that is a really great friendship, and those kinds of things are priceless. Let's see, who do we have here? My name is Grissom from the Pig Knot. Glad to be on the podcast. You know what, y'all? Ignore him. That's my husband, and he's a mess. His name is William Kirby Seals, and he's from right here in my house. But thank you. Oh, and I have to tell you, Boss Talkers, because y'all walked through the whole wedding situation with me, from engagement to the nuptials, and y'all, it will be 1 year on Monday, the 28th of July. Can you believe that? We got married 1 year ago on Monday. And so we are still blissfully happy and loving it. Let's see. Mr. Glenn says, done some video work for her to help promote her book. That's awesome. That is awesome. And Sharon says, super steamy in Atlanta. Always, always. Well, I'm so excited that Nicole got her people in here. Now we just have to get her in here, huh? Hello, Nicole is the greatest, best neighbor, and amazing person. Amen. I love that. I love that. I can't wait till she gets on, because I always like to tell the Boss Talkers, my guests, how I meet my guests, or how I met them. And let's see, this is Joan joining, invited by Nicole. Awesome. I'm so sad that we're having this technical problem. Let me see if my producer is communicating with me. So, y'all, I'm going to have to take off my special glasses. If y'all will just bear with me for a second, I'm going to see what's going on here. Oh, I got it. Okay. So we are doing some behind the scenes work, y'all. Hold on. All righty. I am sharing the link, because what is happening, the link for Nicole to get in the studio, because what seems to be happening now is she can't get into her email, which is where we sent the link to her. So I appreciate y'all. No, she can't call in. There's really no number to call in. It's not that kind of a system. So let's see, who's this? Hello. Oh, we saw that one. Okay. And we got Joan joining invited by Nicole. Thank you. Yes, thank you. She says, wow, happy anniversary and God bless. So for those of you who don't know, I did get married a year ago, and the Boss Talkers here kind of got to walk through the engagement and the preparation, the wedding, and the honeymoon, because we actually went live from, well, we didn't go live from Bali, I don't think. I don't think we went live from Bali, but we did go live from Singapore, and just really had a beautiful, magical time. And we still are having a beautiful and magical time. Right, honey? You better say yes. Love Nicole and her book. That's Jocelyn Pennywell. Well, welcome, Jocelyn. I am so excited. Yes, it is a very good book. I have not yet finished it, but I did start reading it. Lucy, thank you for tuning in. It was nice meeting you today at Anthony International. So Lucy is the nurse who took care of me today when I decided to try to get dizzy and damn near faint in front of a whole audience of people. But I am feeling better, Lucy. So thank you, thank you. And she was so kind. And everyone there was really lovely. And, you know, I get to do these presentations all over. And I really enjoy getting to meet different people and in different capacities. And just everyone people can be lovely in the world. And I love that. I love that kind of energy. And that's the kind of energy that I try to put out there. And God is good enough to give it back, right? So let's see. Speaking of childhood, well, thank you, Clark, but she doesn't have that link. She has a link that's getting her back, but I already sent it. I sent it to my producer, who is getting it to her right as we speak. So we'll get her in here any minute now. And speaking of childhood friends, this is one of mine, Rosalind. This is Yvette, aka Mona. Thank you. Happy anniversary. Love y'all. Love you too, darling. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see. You're looking fabulous. Why, thank you, sir. You are a little bit biased though now, aren't you? Do you do any Apple products? Yes, I do. You said ignore that last text about Apple. Okay, I will ignore that. I didn't see it. Well, I think you guys are amazing for hanging in here with us. I think we're going to get it together. Hold on, let me take a peek. And so let's see. I think they're working it out over there. So many of you have shared how you know Nicole, but if you haven't yet, do tell me, how did you meet the lovely Nicole? And all the new Boss Talkers can get to know the old Boss Talkers over here too. So since you all are new to Boss Talk, I will tell you what I do in the world. A bunch of things, a whole bunch of things. So I am first and foremost a licensed marriage family therapist, and I own and run a group private practice in Encino, California, and we service all kinds of people, from celebrities to not celebrities, from individuals, couples, groups, and families, children. We work also with, we work a lot with trauma. We're trauma specialists. And then in addition to that, I own and run a nonprofit, which is, we have an opportunity there to allow students who are in school to become therapists do their practicum hours with me. So they come to us and they do their hours. They start seeing their clients. They get their training and all of that in order to graduate. And so we just graduated a group of 8 and one on the, well, no, I'm sorry. We graduated a group of 7 with one on the way, one graduating, finished her studies just yesterday. And then we have 2 that are returning because they are MSW students and they get to do 2 rounds with me. And most recently, we took on a group. We started started being preceptors for NP students in the psychiatric nurse practitioner students. And so they come to me and do their psychotherapy hours. And so it's a very exciting time for all of those things that we get to do there. And then most recently, I got licensed as a life agent. So I joined my husband in the financial services industry. So I'm quite a busy girl. And I love it. I love all of it. So I see someone new here. Hello, hello. Kibwe Kahari. Did I get that right? Tell me if I said your name right. And then tell us how you know Nicole, who's working diligently behind the scenes trying to get in here. Let's see. Did I say that right? Kibwe Kahari. Tell us in the chat how you know Nicole. So I, as I said, I recently joined the financial industry, and I did that because as a person who is a therapist, but very much interested in kind of I joined the therapy industry because it is a helping profession, and I actually joined the financial services industry for the very same reason. The way that I look at it as trying to help families create financial wellness in the holistic sense of wellness. I think it's important that when we don't have our financial house in order, it can create some of the same kinds of issues that we have when our mental health and physical and emotional wellness is off kilter. I hope that makes sense. And so we want to help people, especially people who look like us, to understand how their money works and how to create generational wealth, not just earn it, but how to protect their money, how to grow their money, and how to pass it on. And so, yeah, I joined that industry as well, and I love it. So it's like a family up in here. Jocelyn Pennywell says it's Kibwe Trim. Aha. And so I think there's some relationship here to maybe Rosalind. And someone else said hello to Kibwe. Clark says Nicole has been keeping up on your success, Kibwe. I love this. We got a whole family thing going on. So Kibwe, what are you up to? Can you share that with us? I think I see her coming. Okay. I think we're going to have a Nicole sighting pretty soon. I think so. I'm very excited. Cross your fingers, y'all. Say a prayer. Because I think she's coming in now. I really appreciate y'all sticking around and hanging with us while we get this all squared away over there. So I feel like I would be very remiss if I did not acknowledge and send out love and condolences to the family of our beloved Theo, Malcolm Jamal Warner, who recently went to live with the ancestors, and my heart just breaks. That was so unexpected and so shocking, I guess is the word, and just sad, just sad. So prayers to the family, and to the industry. The industry took a great loss because he was a very special, just human, a beautiful man. I had the honest, the greatest pleasure to do spoken word with him once at an event. And so I will forever hold that in my memory. And as I'm sure many have their own special Theo stories, whether you met him or not, whether you just fell in love with him from television, like many of us did. So just sending out loving prayers to the family. So just to update y'all, Nick is in the studio, but I think she's having trouble getting her camera to behave right now. So we're gonna see. Uh-oh. So it looks like she popped out again. I'm wondering. I'm wondering if we might have to reschedule this. I'm sad. Okay, wait. I think she's getting. Let's see who else. Oh, somebody else is in here. R. Roberts. Rachel. Is that Rachel Roberts? Love Nicole. We attended the same church when she lived in New York. She is also my daughter, Karen's godmother. Very proud of all her accomplishments. That's a really good close friendship. I love that. So, fun fact, I lived in New York for 17 years. I moved from Toledo, Ohio. Well, actually, I was in school first in Athens, Ohio, and then moved to New York. I transferred to NYU, and so I love New York. I love it, love it, love it. So where in New York are you, Rachel? And how many of you are from New York who are on tonight? Clark's in Arizona. Kibwe, where are you? And let's see. Well, I know that Yvette Kennard is coming from Toledo, Ohio. Lucy is here in Cali. Jocelyn, where are you calling in from? Naila's coming in from the ATL. I have another Nicole sighting. Yes, this time it's going to work. 419. Clark is also a New Yorker. All right. Well, y'all, I think we are ready. And I am so excited, so excited. Oh, Clark, you've lived in 3 of the boroughs. I lived in Brooklyn for like 5 minutes. I lived in the Village and in Harlem. Jocelyn is Kibwe's wife, and they're on together. Well, y'all, without another word from me, please welcome Nick Simpson. Whee! Yay!
Oh my God. Hello.
Well,
I am
hello there,
so truly, truly sorry. We have started
girl.
this at 5:30, and for some reason, my browser has blocked the site, and I couldn't get into the studio.
Well, you know what they say. Anything worth having is what? Worth waiting for.
And my wonderful friend and neighbor, Chris, just came home from work, saw my desperate messages,
And
and he
came
came
over with
over
the
and
phone.
helped me.
Oh, I
Thank
love
you,
it.
thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, and tell him I
Sorry,
said
I'm
thank you
truly,
too.
truly sorry.
No need to worry. Like I said, anything worth having is definitely worth waiting for. So, lady, it's so good to have you here. And especially after all of this, um, I just want to ask you to breathe with me for just a quick moment, right? Let's just do that together, real quick. You're going to breathe in. And I don't know if you were listening back there, but just take a deep breath in. When you breathe in, when you inhale, let your belly expand. And when you exhale, let it contract. So let's do that twice. Let's go. Here we go.
In
Inhale.
the words of my guru.
Yes. And exhale. And breathe it in. And exhale. Yeah, see, now we just wiped all that stuff off. Okay, let's go. So, girl, welcome to Boss Talk LA. That's bold, one of a kind, sensational superstars. And that, my dear, is you. So, tell us a little bit about you. I know that you are from Trinidad, Tobago. And so, tell us a little bit about your journey.
Ah, well, my journey is, as most people who are on here probably read the book. Um, I was born in Trinidad. My parents were from Barbados and they migrated to Trinidad. And I grew up there. And I took you through the journey of my childhood that wasn't so pleasant, wasn't so happy, but I survived it. And my dream from since I was small was to come to America because I heard that there was a better life and there were better opportunities. And after trying a few times, I was able to get the correct documents. And of course, when you come in through the plane, you have to come in with a visa.
Ah,
You can't come in the airport without a visa. And I made my way through New York City, which was very overwhelming because coming from a small island to a place like, Manhattan, I, I couldn't believe people live in buildings that went, completely up in the air. So it
absolutely.
was it was really overwhelming, and I pretty much cried for the first 3 years. I wanted to go back home because it was too much. And then when winter happened, it was really too much. The
Wow.
cars drove on the wrong side of the street. The buildings were too tall and the weather was too cold. The food tasted funny. You guys talked funny. You all thought we talked funny. And I just made it through from one thing to the other. I went through many changes and I got into advertising as a secretary. Had no idea what advertising was because we had recently gotten color television in Trinidad. And,
Wait,
we
Nicole,
signed off at 10 o'clock at night.
hold on. I'm going to slow you down. I'm going to take you back a little bit because the title of this book, and I will hold it up. See y'all. So the title of your book is From No Salt to the Corner Office.
Yes,
So
it is.
I want to ask you about the inspiration for the title. Start with that for me.
The inspiration for the title was the day I discovered we didn't even have salt. We were, as far as I remember a little bit from 2, but pretty much from 3 years old, I remembered what happened. And I was always told we were poor, we were very poor. My parents argued all the time. We didn't have, there's no money, money doesn't grow on trees, and that, blah, 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 blah.
Mhm.
After my father died, the money that we didn't have got less.
Wow. Now, how old were you then?
It's been so long. I think I was like somewhere between 7 and 9 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the day distinctly, though. And I knew at that point things were going to get worse financially, because I just had this little feeling that my mother didn't know how to go out there and generate money, etc., etc., etc.
Mm,
And it got to the point where she would start borrowing $2, $3, $5. And so when she got paid, a great portion of her paycheck had to be paid back, because she was very dutiful of paying everybody back that she'd borrowed
mm,
money from. So each month she had less and less and less money. And this particular day, she came home. She was sitting on the steps at the back, the concrete steps, and she was crying. And I asked her what happened, because I always felt when my mother was crying, I knew things were bad. And
mhm.
she said she had borrowed enough money from everybody. She couldn't borrow money from anybody else. And because she would have no money left in her paycheck. And she wanted to bring something home for us to eat, but she had nothing.
Wow.
So I got up and I went into the kitchen, and everything was empty. When I say there was nothing, there was nothing. And in the corner, I found a brown paper bag that we had bought flour in, but it's been pushed in the corner and it's been sitting there so long, it had a bunch of weevils in it. And I sifted and sifted a few times, mixed the paste, boiled it, because that's what we did when we couldn't afford oatmeal. We did that we called it porridge. And I
Mhm.
mixed it, and I went to put some sugar in it, and there was no sugar. They had washed out the sugar can. So I thought, let me at least put a little bit of salt, because she used to put a pinch of salt in it. And when I went to the salt jar, it was a glass jar. Somebody had used it and washed the jar out.
Ah,
And that's when it changed my life. It hit me so hard that we
mm,
didn't even have salt. And
mm.
salt was 2 cents per pound. It's the one thing everybody had. It was so cheap. And if you read my book, you would see earlier my sister had tried to strangle me with salt, and we didn't even have salt. And that day changed my life.
Mm. Wow. Thank you for
It,
sharing that. And I can see that.
it made me feel. I tried not to buy in when my mother would tell me we are poor things and we're not like everybody else and we didn't have what everybody else have. I usually tried not to buy into that, but that day I felt it. I
Mm,
felt like we were less than everybody.
mm. So, and you think you were probably about seven, somewhere 7, 9, 10 years old at that time.
Yes, yes, somewhere in yeah.
Mhm.
That on with the salt thing, I was probably about 10.
Okay. So even that at that age, at 10, and feeling that, which is, it's amazing that you still feel that today. And I can understand that it really was like a turning point for you, that there was something still in
Wait a
you.
minute, no, I was older, because I was a bit older than that. Because I remember going to my friend's house that night, and at
Okay.
10, she wasn't gonna let me go anywhere by myself.
Yeah, that would happen. Right. Okay. So culturally, what do you think were the values, though, that helped shape your vision beyond that?
Well, it was always that you had to take care of yourself, because we didn't have any social programs at home growing up. There was no food stamps, no welfare, no anything. So you either
Mhm.
worked or you starved. There was no anything.
Mhm.
So everybody worked. I mean, of course, a neighbor would help you out or something if you were struggling,
Mhm.
but everybody worked. So I always grew up knowing that I would have to work and take care of myself.
Mhm.
And there were the guiding principles, so to speak. Do the right thing, go to school, get an education, get a job, do the right thing, and things will fall into place.
Mhm.
Of course, you grow up, I come to America and realize it doesn't necessarily work that way.
Hello, somebody. Wow. And so I think that when we hear you speak about that, I don't even think that many of us can even get a visual for that. And many people at that time having that happen or having that realization, it's either you get to make a choice, right? You get to choose to let that break you down and leave you down, right?
Right.
Or you make the choice to move out of that into where you landed. So Williams says this book is a must read, man. What a story. Now, when you think back on that day now, besides the emotion that you feel, can you realize when there was the turning point for you though that said, this ain't my life?
That was it. That was it. I mean, even though, I used to hear them talking about coming to America and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go there because there's a better life.
Mhm.
But that day was the days like, okay, I've got to change the situation. I've got to figure it out for my mother and my sister.
Mhm.
As soon as I grow up, as soon as I can, I am going. That was the day. That was the
And that
day.
and that and that shaped how you did things, how you moved about the world from that moment
Hmm.
forward.
Hmm.
So what were some of the things that you did? What were some of the steps that helped you move to that place, move through all of that? Like, what are the things that you had to do to prepare to come to America, so to speak?
Well, what I did was, I was going to school, I was working, as soon as you got out of school, you start doing a little job, whatever, at Christmas and things like that. And I started asking and inquiring, and I had a few friends in America and Canada. And some Americans came down to Trinidad and they opened up, a little booth, and they're like, oh, we can get you to America. And they tip you money. So you saved up and you saved up and you saved up. And every month you took a little bit. And then one day you went and they disappeared. They were gone.
No.
And I did that, I think, two times for sure, but I think I might have done it a third time.
Each
And
time
then
thinking, hoping that this is the one that's
this
going to
is the
be for
one,
me.
yeah. Because they knew that people would wanted to come to America. So they came down and it's like, oh, we can help you. We can get you there. And then they take your money and no, they didn't get you there. But
Wow.
eventually, I was able to get a sponsor and got the right letters and documents, and I was
Mhm.
able to jump on that plane and come.
Wow. And here you are. Okay. So
Mhm.
now we know that when you got here, you were like, this is not it. You didn't love it.
It is too. Everything was too big, too large, too tall.
All of the twos, right? So
Mhm.
when did you find your groove, so to speak, in America?
Oh, after I went back home, when I went back to get my green card, I planned to go back for a month because I was like, oh my God, I can't wait to go home. Blah, blah. And I went back for a month. And in 2 weeks, I was back at JFK.
You were like, this ain't it.
I was like, okay, I'm done. I can't. I can't. I'll stay.
Okay.
I'll survive the cold. I'll stay.
I'll make it through it all because
I'll
this is
make it
where.
through. And
Mhm.
once I made that decision, that's when I was like, okay, this is it. You're going to be here. And, you know,
Yeah.
you got to push forward. And I just went forward from there.
Okay. So now we're at the secretary spot where you found
Hmm.
a job working in advertising.
Hmm.
Which company did you work for?
J. Walter Thompson, but
Ah,
better
yes.
known as JWT.
AWT.
At that
I worked for
point,
the.
it was the largest advertising agency in the world, but it really didn't mean that much to me because I had no idea
Yeah,
what it
no
was
gauge.
all about.
Sure. I worked for the Bloom Agency.
Ah, I remember the lady who was in charge of the secretaries would tell us, people are killing to get jobs here. People are dying to get jobs here. And I would sit there and like, why? But I I used to type these huge plans because we had major clients like Kodak and Lever Brothers and Singer and Pan American Airlines, some of the
Mhm,
largest clients.
mhm,
And I would be typing these major plans, and the plans are what they're going to advertise for the next quarter, the next year, whatever. And I didn't really understand what I was typing. And I
mhm.
think everybody on here knows what a typewriter is. Uh, and I went to one of my bosses and I go, what do we do? And he said, in a nutshell, we tell clients where, when, how, and why to spend their money. And then he broke it down for me in, little bits. And from that day forward, everything I typed started to make sense.
Mm.
I remember doing a plan we had Rolex watch, and like the People magazine was arguing why they should get a large portion of the money versus Newsweek. And back then, Newsweek and Time was strictly business and news and finance. And, they started comparing, the education, the income, home ownership, and it all started to make sense. It was like, oh,
Mm.
and I just started learning everything from there. But then I really did get tired of winter and the subways and a whole lot. And I wanted to move, and I was trying to move because I found out we could move to other offices. And I was trying to move to the Atlanta office. And just by accident, they were opening a Dallas office. And one of my girlfriends, who was also a secretary, she and I are still friends to this day. She ran into the person who was going to be responsible for the Dallas office in the ladies' room. And she
Oh,
asked
wow.
her if she was hiring, and she said yes. And she told her about me, and she said, oh, okay. So Sonia came and grabbed me from my desk. She literally took me by my hand. She goes, you want to move to Dallas? You want to move to Dallas? And I remember going, you have a job for me? You have a job for me? And
I
she
love it.
took me over to Donna, who was going to be in charge of the project. And that's how the moving started, because Donna
Wow.
interviewed me. She's like, fine, I'll take you. And she said, I'll let you, anything you want to learn, anything you want to do, I'll let you. And I'm thinking, oh, yeah, right, okay. But we went and talked to her boss, and in no time flat, everything was figured out. And then a few months later, we moved to Dallas. And I
Oh,
winded up, having 8 jobs while I was in Dallas because I had to do so much of it. Because she and I literally built the office from scratch.
okay.
Um,
So Dallas was sort of your pit stop to California.
Yeah. Well, Dallas, then I went to Houston because she left and came out to California. I moved to Houston for a year, but I couldn't deal with the rain and the clouds or whatever. Went back to Dallas, and she kept asking me, you sure you don't want to come to LA for 3 years? You sure you don't want? I'm like, no, no more big taxes, no more traffic, no more big cities. No,
None of
no,
that.
no. And I was so burnt out and overworked where I was. One day she called, and she could tell in my voice that something was wrong. And she said, you sure you don't want to move to LA? And I said, yes. She was like, what? I said, yes.
She thought you
And
were
that was a
nuts about
Friday
that.
afternoon. And what do you know? Monday morning, a job opened up, a job that she wasn't expecting a person to quit.
Wow.
And
And
I,
so okay, so then what did you end up coming to California in what job capacity?
I was a broadcast negotiator at that point because, like 4 years had gone by, and I was a senior broadcast negotiator, meaning you
Mhm.
negotiate the commercial airtime on radio, TV, cable, etc. And
Mhm.
I've been here now for a few decades.
Since then, wow. And did you
Yes,
continue
fell
coming home?
madly in love with California. Well, I used to come out and visit. I think
Mhm.
5 years in a row I had come out here and visit before I moved.
Yeah, that
So
usually gets all of us.
yeah. So I was, because I was like, how can I live here? This is my vacation spot.
Right, but just think, living in your vacation spot, what a gift,
Yeah.
right?
And I'm
Yes.
like, I thought they said there
So
were no trees here. Look at all these palm trees.
exactly. They're just a different kind of tree. I know the
Hmm.
one thing that I remember coming out here, I moved out here in 97, and I said, I moved out because I was at a job and they were opening a salon. I was working for Frederic Fekkai, the French hair designer, and they were going to open a salon in California on Rodeo Drive. And I knew it, and they were asking people to sign up. And I was like, hmm. And then a woman came in, the bridal consultant walked out, and they were all up in arms. And I was like, I can help. And they were like, oh, no, she speaks French. And I said, I speak French. And they were like, what? And so I helped the bride out. And then Frederick Mackay was like, who's the black girl that speaks French? And so he had a talk with me and said, we're opening in Beverly Hills. Do you want to move out there? And I said, are you going to pay? And he said, yes. And I said, I'm on my way. And so that's how I packed up and got here. So we all get here how we get here. And then we're
Yeah.
like, ah. But, I was communicating back and forth with the New York office, and I would be out on the balcony, the terrace, looking at the Hollywood sign, and we were always celebrating the opening. I'd have a glass of champagne and I would call them on the phone. And then about 3 weeks in, woke up one morning, Nicole, and it was pouring down rain. And girl, it did not stop for about a month or 2 months. And then I stopped calling them and they started calling me, and they're like, Miss Thang, are you still out on that balcony? I got here in 97, right before El Nino happened, which is the big rainy season. So it was like, oh gosh, but it didn't last forever, so here we are. So what else did you do in advertising? How long did you stay in that field?
Oh, 25 years total.
Oh my, okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. That's the major portion of my career life. I just kept moving up. Someone asked me, did you plan to become a senior vice president? I'm like, no, I just learned and grow, did the work, learned and grow. And both times when I was made a vice president and a senior vice president, it was a total shock to me because I was just getting the work done. Because I winded up, having to set up offices from scratch when we got the agency that launched the Infinity car line. I got hired as the broadcast director there. And again, had to start everything from scratch because it was a new agency in the market. And I had to set up the department and everything like that. And I started in May, I think. And that Christmas, when they were doing all the state of the agency speeches and, how we did for the year and whatever, and each department head was doing that. And my boss, he gave his speech about our department. And then he said, and I'm promoting. And I was like stunned because I didn't have the slightest clue that I was getting promoted to a vice president.
Wow.
And the same thing happened when I moved to the last agency that I worked at. I was there for 5 months and the department was in shambles. It needed staffing. There were so many things that needed to be done. And the CEO's assistant called me and said he wants to see me in his office. No big deal. I just grabbed a pad and a pen and went down to his office. And when I opened the door, I tell that story in there because it's one of the best days of my life. I opened the door to his office, and he had, of course, a very large office. And on my right was my boss, and on my left was the head of human resources. And I'm like, oh my God, they're going to fire me. Because why would they be in his office? I mean, if it's something that we all were discussing, yes, but he calls me in and doesn't tell me that my boss and human resources is going to be there. So when I saw them, I was just like, so I said with my cute self, oh, is this how many people it takes to fire me? And they don't smile, they don't laugh, they don't answer. Everybody just looked at everybody. And Dave is like, Nicole, please sit down. And I saw Sandy, my boss, look at the human resources manager. And then they all looked at each other. And what it said to me is that they're all in agreement with whatever is about to happen. And whatever is about to happen is going to be big and it's going to be devastating. And then Dave, the CEO, started talking and he's like, Nicole, you've been here for 5 months and you've done. And he started listing all the things that I had done. And I'm like, and you're going to fire me? And I'm like, how does he know all this? And he just kept going on. And I'm having this dialogue going in my head. And he said, we were going to wait till Christmas but we decided to do it now. We couldn't wait. And I'm like, he couldn't wait to fire me. I mean, you should hear the conversation that was going on in my head. And he said, we couldn't wait. We are promoting you. No, first he said, we're going to give you a raise. And I'm like, oh, he's not going to fire me. And then he tells me how much the raise is. And I am like out of my mind, because it's not often when companies really reward you. It's like, we've seen your work. You deserve this. I was like, let me get out of here really fast before they change their mind, because I thought he made a mistake. So I'm like, thank you, and thank you. And I'm like, let me get out, because if I leave, they'll feel bad to change their mind afterwards, right? And he's like, Nicole, please sit down. I was like, oh Lord, there's a catch to it. He goes, and we've also decided to promote you to senior vice president. Wow. I was like, holy shit. Now let me go before they change their mind.
Yeah, that is really good
like, Nicole, would you please sit down?
Wow.
And then he starts telling me all the things that comes with the senior vice president. I was beside myself. You hear me?
That's amazing. William says, is this story in the book which he's talking about? Yes, it is, darling. And you can read it when you get home. Ta-da. Well, so how long did you work in that capacity?
Oh, 9 years.
9 years. And then what made you leave the company and all of the goodies there?
The advertising business, the company started maybe 10 years before that. Non-advertising agencies started buying advertising agencies and radio and television stations, and they started merging. And each time they bought and merged, they tried to reinvent the wheel, meaning let's get rid of half of the people, let's not give raises, and let's get everybody to work 50 hours a week, 60 hours a week for no more pay. And that cycle just kept going on, 3 years, then they'll sell or merge or do something else, and the cycle would go on and on. Yeah. And we merged my department. First, they spun my department off as a separate company, and then they would buy other agencies and merge and stuff like that. And the people coming in was constant, because the more they cut, the bigger their bonuses were. And it was so political.
So it turned corporate. It turned really corporate.
Yeah. I was working. Like somebody asked me earlier, why did I stop doing comedy? I was like, I was in the office. I was in the office at night, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. I worked till 3 a.m. a few mornings. But there was so much work to do. And they always go, well, why are you working late? Well, stop giving me the work. And with broadcast, there were deadlines. You have to get on the air. It's not something you could do next week. If a client has a promotion or sale, and we had the movie business, when a movie is opening, it has to get on the air. You can't put it off for next week or next month. So I worked and worked and worked. And I remember starting to drive home at 1 o'clock in the morning crying. At 12 o'clock at night, I'm driving home crying, I can't do this anymore. And I've traveled a lot. And over the years, I had thought of buying things and opening a store that had unique things.
Okay, now stop right there. Stop right there. Because what we're going to have to do, my dear, is bring you back for part 2. And I want to find a good place. And so that is about to sound nice and yummy. So I want to save that for part 2. Are you open to coming back?
Oh, yes, I am.
Absolutely. All right. And
tell me who is online.
Oh, well, I will tell you who's out here. Jocelyn Pennywell, Clark Glenn, my childhood friend, Yvette Kennard, used to be Murphy, from Toledo, Ohio. Rachel Roberts. Let's see. Kibwe is on. My husband, Lucy, who is a lady that I met today because she stopped me from fainting pretty much. And Nyla from the ATL, Nyla from the Joan, Chris CJ, and they all came to see you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all for supporting in this lovely way. And please know that Nicole will be in touch with you to let you know when she's going to come back and do part 2. But we have to stop now. Technology is amazing until it's not, right? So
Yeah.
Stay with us and jam out with me, and y'all do the same. And we will see you again real soon. And this has been Boss Talk, y'all. And that's bold, one of a kind, sensational superstars. And that's each and every one of you. Jam it out with me to my theme song. And I want to shout out Wayne Lindsay, who introduced me to Nicole and his beautiful daughter for my theme song. And here we go. So if you want to connect with me, there's all the info. We're going to put up Nicole's info so you can connect with her too. Join us back here, y'all, to see part 2 with Nicole Nick Simpson. And if you need therapy, livinglovehealing.org. If you need coaching, livinglovecoaching.com. And we have a non-profit site, no cost therapy. So you may be sent here every Wednesday.